What if you had a simple, proven, and repeatable 3-step framework to know exactly what to say in your videos to convert cold strangers into paying clients? Starting to create any kind of video for your coaching or consulting business can seem intimidating at first, but I'm going to show you exactly what to say every time to make sure that your videos are actually generating sales. Now, first off, to truly understand the angle to take when creating an outline or a script for your next video, we need to first understand the goal of the video. Because a lot of times we can fall into the trap of thinking our job is to sell people on our products or services directly in all the videos that we create. And while certain videos may be geared towards this, most of your content should not be. The best marketing is truly educational content. So if we can give the viewer utility or give them something of value or solve a pain point directly in the video for them, then naturally they're gonna want to take the next step with you or continue to follow you. In fact, if you look at some of the heavy hitters in the space like Alex Hormozi, Ravi Abuvala, and more, you'll notice that they give away a lot of valuable content for free. So you shouldn't be concerned about giving away information for 2 reasons. So number 1, your product is not the information you're teaching or the information that's in your course. If you have a high-ticket coaching program or training program, what you're really selling is a result. You're selling accountability, direct support of some kind, whether that's in a group or a one-on-one help, and personalized strategy. Most people don't take action on information alone anyways, and even if they do, they're gonna find so much value in what you're giving away for free that they'll wanna know what you offer on a paid level. Second, your marketing strategy should mirror human psychology, and by giving away stuff for free, you're activating what's known as the law of reciprocity. Now, the law of reciprocity states that we naturally feel inclined to give back when we feel that we've been given something of value. So if your content can do that for your ideal prospect, you're gaining their trust, loyalty, and eventually their payment. Now that we know our goal is to educate, or what I call provide a quick win for the viewer, it takes the pressure off of feeling like we just have to sell or promote ourselves or our services. Now, there are 3 essential segments to any good piece of content that I call the hook, the how, and the now what. The first part is probably the most important to ensure that we not only get people to click on the video, but we get them to stay engaged and view the rest of the video. This is your hook, or the first few seconds of your video. Speaking of getting people to engage, if you could do me a huge favor right now and hit the like button and subscribe, it lets me know to create more content just like this for you. So just like good copywriting, each line is essentially there to get the reader's permission to go on to the next line. The opening 5 seconds or so of your video is gaining the viewer's permission to move on to the next part of the video. If you lose them in the first few seconds with a boring intro or a 20-second blurb on who you are and what you do, they're gonna click off your video and move on to the next one. So that means that right away, we need to open up with an attention-grabbing hook and tell them what's in it for them by watching the entire video. What is the thing that they want that they can gain by the end of the video? Now, there are a lot of ways to create an effective hook, right? You can use numbers or a shocking statistic. You can take a position opposite of what everyone else says or thinks. You can use words like warning and this will forever transform how you look at X topic, right? Or you can also simply make a big promise. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to say every time to convert strangers into paying clients. But the major thing when creating your hook is to stay genuine. So in other words, what you don't want to do is use a hook just to grab attention that has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the content in your video. If it's not relevant, people can see through it and they'll click off your video and move on to the next. Now that you have their attention, the second part is where the bulk of the video will take place. This is the how. You want to go straight into giving them what they're looking for. Educate. Particularly when it comes to YouTube content and even Instagram Reels right now, the most effective kind of content is educational or a tutorial. And in fact, while over 80% of internet users are on YouTube, so practically everybody, over 60% of those users report watching a tutorial or a how-to video in the last week. So educational content works. And don't be afraid to go deep on the topics. When it comes to platforms like YouTube or even podcasts, your longer form content that actually teaches and gives value is going to be one of the best assets you can create for your business. Now, you can also focus on short form content on other platforms or even take pieces of your long form content to repurpose later. I always get the question, how long should my video be? And while it differs if we're talking about native content on other platforms, specifically when it comes to your pillar content or the main videos that you're gonna house on YouTube, the idea is to give the viewer whatever they need to achieve the promise that you made to them in your hook, however long that ends up being. So if you're making a video on, let's say, the top 3 ways to tweak your workout to to build more muscle. Then by the end of that video, they should be sold on why they need to make these tweaks, and then they should know exactly what to do next to incorporate that into their very next workout. Now, when possible, you can split up the middle part of your video into numbered steps, lists, or tips. This is also a great place to tell a story that breaks a limiting belief or talk about a time that you helped a client get the result you're talking about in the video. If you're walking through a step-by-step of how to use a software or something similar, screen sharing as you're walking through it is also very effective. Now, at the end of this section, feel free to give a quick 10-second recap of what you covered as you transition into the last part. The third and final segment is the now what, also known as your call to action. What do you want this person to do next? Be sure to have one singular, very clear next step for them to take. The clearer your call to action is, the better. So at the end of a YouTube video, it could be to click the link in the description to view a training you have or download a checklist in exchange for an email. It could also be as simple as comment down below or hit the subscribe button. Now, typically your goal of any content posted on any platform you don't own, like YouTube or Instagram, should be to eventually create traffic that you do own. In other words, grab their email in exchange for more value so that you can contact them later, no matter if algorithms change or your account gets shut down tomorrow. So there you have it, the framework you need to easily script out or outline any piece of content to make sure that it actually converts. So remember, the goal is to educate and give utility, not to sell. Then open with a hook, give them the how, and tell them the now what, the next step that you want them to take. If you want to learn more about how you can use this content to be everywhere at once and do it all in less than 3 hours a month, then check out my free training where I break that down in more detail over at get.upperhandcreative.com/learn, and I'll see you next time.